For those of you who wonder why this review even exists in the first place, it's mainly because of two reasons. Number one, I started watching Hazel's videos, which if you don't know who Hazel is, you should check her out. She also reviews anime and the like. And one of the things she said was try to itch the scratch of watching a show without fully investing 500, 600 episodes at a time. Basically, the lesson here is you shouldn't have to watch 600 episodes to find out you don't like the show. Now, I don't want to name any shows in particular where, for example, you had friends peer pressuring you to keep watching it. They say it'd get better, but in reality it didn't. But you wanted to keep watching because you were itching for a show to have a decent plot. And a certain show just didn't live up to the hype over time, okay? Again, I'm not naming any names, but yeah. She'd go to sleep with an OVA on. It was like every single night she fell asleep watching a different OVA. I'm sitting there thinking like, wow, that's actually a fantastic way to cram in a plot that's very short. It's like basically like a movie except with like a couple episodes. And so I decided to do the due diligence and try to look up an OVA that I'd be interested in watching, but at the same time wouldn't be too popular because I'm trying to find something that wasn't like sort of spoiled for me, for example, right? I went on my favorite anime website that isn't the stuff I usually watch.
And we shall not name the content I review that isn't anime. Now back to your regularly scheduled programming.
And I found Cyber City Dedo 808.
813, time for your appointment. 808, time for your appointment. 851, time for your appointment.
Gentlemen, the state is prepared to offer you a deal. You can elect to spend the rest of your days rotting in this space prison, or you can choose to work in the special service section of the police. You want a second chance, then pick this up.
And this show, it's beautiful. What's up, guys? I'm the 47 and welcome to Watch the Plus. I don't know what the intro was, but we're going to keep rolling. Okay, we're going to keep on pushing. Video 2 of the phone arc. I don't know how long this arc's lasting, as long as I have the job. So there's that on that one. And yeah, so this is it, right? This show reminds me of a bunch of shows I was watching while I was watching it. So it reminds me of Psycho-Pass in a sense of the higher government and the higher authority has every single sense of control and security just locked tight. It's like the whole paranoia environment everybody's watching, Big Brother's watching, right? Then you also have King and Ashura and Baki, where the aesthetic is you are watching people fight and they're literally on the brink of death every single time. But for some reason, they get to come back up at full energy. Like, for example, a couple scenes here.
Alright, shithead, let's finish it.
This man gets fucking ethered in the chest like 40 times by a sentient robot that's being controlled by a damn near dead man, but that dead man was in the robot.
You have to get up, Okos. I'm giving you an order.
Has latent psychic abilities allowing him to control the robot entirely, so therefore he's thinking like a cyborg. I don't know exactly. Like he's like a mecha suit pretty much, but like it's more complicated than that. It's like if you can control a mecha suit with your mind. That's what this guy is right here. And you have this other scene here with this Griffith looking guy, this beautiful looking white haired angel, devil tongue, other ways to describe whatever it looks like. He gets stabbed by an immortal vampire, and then he gets shot by the immortal vampire, and then stabbed again. And now, the thing is, right, with the first step, with the orange hair guy, the mohawk, he's like a half robot, like a Mr. T looking motherfucker. So, like, he has, like, robot eyes and everything. So, like, I'm like, okay, him getting stabbed, like, 40, 50, 60 times, I don't get it because he's still human, but, like, it's a bit more believable. But this dude, this Griffith-looking dude here, getting ethered in the middle of fighting an immortal vampire, no, I can't take that realistically.
I'm sorry it had to end this way.
However, because it's, like, so over the top and absurd, like, the whole point of the fight is to see the, not even hero, I was about to say the hero, but they're not even heroes at this point. I'll get to why they're not heroes. But to see the person who is not the villain win the fight and then the arc completes, right? That's the whole point of the show. So the over-the-top fighting scene is amazing. It has cyberpunk aesthetic, and then you also have a couple other influences here and there, and then you have this entire show. Now, there's 3 episodes, and coincidentally, there's 3 arcs for each of the 3 characters. Now, who are the 3 characters? Well, Alright, and now I'm going to try to attempt to describe all 3 of these characters in less than a minute because, you know, obvious reasons. So we have Sengoku right here, basically the Yusuke Urameshi of the group. Looks like Yusuke Urameshi, shit talker, constant trash talker, constantly has to put down the rest of his teammates, has the biggest ego despite possibly being the weakest person amongst the group, which is very fitting given, you know, how the story goes. And you have the second arc of the story, Gogo. Very humble, very wholesome person. I would say lawful good. I would have to lean towards Kyoto good since it's a 300-year life sentence. I can't say lawful good because if he was lawful good, he wouldn't be in fucking prison in the first place. But yeah, he has a story arc where he has multiple people come to him, betray him, and he's still trying to make sure that he's getting his job done as the...
I can't believe it's turned out like this. If only I could turn the clock back, then we could be the way we were.
It's not your fault, Sarah. Everyone makes mistakes. Now forget it. I hope one day you and I will be able to work together as a team again. But first I'd have to get this damn collar off, and we have to figure out a way of dealing with this situation we got into. Now come on, Sarah, let's get it together. Between us we can beat this bunch of limp dicks.
And then you have Benton over here. You know, heartthrob, looks like a Griffith, pretty boy. First scene showing us he's very androgynous. And also on top of that, like, strong as hell.
Your first guess was right.
So the characters are essentially prisoners that put on death row sentences. However, they've been taken out of their death row sentences and said they're now fighting crime. But the thing is, they're constantly reminded, albeit from their handler or people who also are in their position where they're prisoners doing life sentences to reduce their crime, fighting crime, by them dying due to collar on their neck. They're constantly reminded, like, hey, we have to get this mission done, we have to get this mission done, we have to get this mission done. Like, they're constantly reminded over and over again. I kind of like that threat, that urgency there. It's pretty cool. And what really grabs me about this show is that, despite it being 3 minutes, about 45 to an hour long per episode, and not having enough time to essentially world build as much as like shows like the Avatar or Naruto has for their shows, it's really feels like I'm there. It's extremely immersive because like the small tiny details they give, for example, whenever they interact with other people, because it's a detective show, right? Like it's giving very apocalyptic setting, very dystopian, and I love it so much. And they're describing how fucked up the entire scenario is without necessarily going into strict detail, like, you know, a couple thousand years ago, George W. Bush's third grandson became president and decided to, like, they didn't do any of that. They just said, fucking, here you go, throw congratulations. Like, they got fucking flying cars, they got this R2-D2 robot doing these random cutesy dumb scenes right here.
Just piss off and let me enjoy my motherfucking hangover in peace, will you?
It is my duty to remind you that you are forbidden the consumption of alcohol. The drug results in impaired motor neuron response, which will hinder your work.
You're really all hard, aren't you asshole?
Which is a sort of comic relief on top of the comic relief. So when episode 1 was happening and it was like Sengoku and the robot, it was kind of like funny back and forth banter because like they're both like cheesy motherfuckers. Like one was just cursing the whole time, other one was saying,
actually, technically, you can't say that because it, like,
you know, it's kind of it's adorable. It's really adorable. And yeah, also the fights, dude, these fights, I have to say, despite it being made, no, I think actually in spite mean like it's forward? Whatever, I'm not even looking it up. And regardless, because it was made in the 90s, I feel like they had to make the fights as good as they were, because if they didn't, then you would have noticed all of the quote-unquote technical flaws with the animation. Like a lot of people looked alike, and you know, a lot of people who weren't main characters looked like absolute dog shit, yada, yada, yada. They didn't even have a face at all. All 3 episodes, though, I would have to say the most interesting one, of course, is the one with the immortal vampire I was mentioning earlier.
Now finally I have all immortality and power. I am nothing less than a man-made god. Now, you ungrateful fool, as it was I who gave you the gift of life, it shall be my privilege to extinguish it by sucking the immortal lifeblood which courses through the veins of your body.
But the most heart-wrenching and tantalizing one to watch was the second episode of Gogo, because we see Gogo's character development before. He's probably a chaotic good, technically lawful good, but let's get over that whole technicality. And he got betrayed by a woman who was a former, I want to say lover. I don't really know anymore. Genuinely though, since I didn't want to spoil this show at all, highly recommend you watch it. It is really good, really short watch too. If you take like a movie, it's about like what, anywhere from 2.5 to 3 hours. That's a movie. It's like Lord of the Rings, easy peasy, a day or two gone, and you will have an entire plot just underneath your belt. You can talk about. You can use it to develop your other thoughts of other shows as well. And on top of this, it's episodic. So when it ends, you don't have to, continue to think, oh, what's it like? It's its own universe that exists within its own timeline, timescale. It's so cool. Like, it's written off almost essentially as if it was planned to have a 3-episode series. Like, generally speaking, of course, I would have loved to see this to continue to be like a regular running show. But, not all things end up being the way you want them to be, right? Look at Berserk recent animation. Like, look at Berserk's recent... Yeah, that's my review on City Dedo. And definitely tell me if you want me to review other shows that aren't, anime related in the future. Alright, guys, I'm not trouble for it. It wouldn't matter because don't make it for the video. Good night. First, shout out to TJ Blaze for sure. I'm going to say that in the beginning of the video, actually. He's a member of the channel. You can be a member too if you, click join below. Have a nice day, guys. I will definitely get back to regular scheduled programming. It just will be more sparse given my environment. But definitely shout out to you guys for being kind of beautiful, I guess. Because, someone has to be, right? Someone has to be hot. It can't be me. I can't be the hottest person on this planet all the time. That's exhausting, Yeah.
What the fuck, nigga? I'm trying to get up in the damn club. I'm trying to go crazy, dog. I'm talking about Daisy, Caduceus.
Tell me you're from New York without telling me you're from New York. I'll go first, alright? Yo, let me get a bacon, egg, and cheese, salt, pepper, ketchup, mayo on a roll. Yes, sir. You already know the vibes. I can't forget the bev either. Gotta cop the air. You already know.